And see, that's how Windows works. So one minute your computer is not working, and the next minute it is. So I'm back here with you guys in 2020, day one. Let's do this because I'm back with new, fresh, fortified, rejuvenated energy. And I want to do an end of the year recap, but not so much as setting my intentions for the new year. I should probably look up here, right? So you see, I've got my little glasses, whatever. They're just for style, honey, but I adore them. And I really wanted to talk about like what I see the new year being for me. And then maybe I can go back and look at this video and take notes because I have, even though I am doing my business plan, I have yet to write down a series of goals in each category, although I kind of love it. Maybe I will do it tonight. What I did just do is the mirror exercise. Oh, that's so cool. Look. um, I was on the phone with one of my writing club sisters, and she said an exercise that she had to do in school was to look in the mirror for 5 minutes in her own eyes and write about it. So I did. And I might as well share it with you since I'm here. I mean, would y'all like that? I think you would. Um, Here we go. It says, the mirror exercise. I definitely looked for longer than 5 minutes. The timer neglected to sound. There were at least 3 times that I laughed. I was falling in love with myself all over again. The first thing I noticed was the pain that was being let go. It simply was no longer there in my eyes. And then I began to notice my eyes, all of the squiggly little blood vessels, how one was a little bit bigger than the other. It's this one's bigger. And then I remembered a nickname that has been given to me by more than one lover, beady eyes. I saw a woman of 35 who was way more youthful, someone who would never age, whose inner beauty would not be trumped by her outer. And now I'm tired of describing. I want to use these eyes until they're used up. I want to see new things with them. I want to live. So I think that's a perfect way to talk about what I see for myself in 2020 in light of this diagnosis with ADHD, because now it's kind of like, when you have a kid, they're just kind of with you forever, whether you like it or not. That's kind of how I feel about this diagnosis. And for the Lord Jesus. All right. So you guys just saw my setup. So you never have to act like I wasn't transparent with you that this is like, okay, definitely not a major production, but maybe one day it will be. So this is like my planner, which I haven't put anything in there yet, but I do have a wall calendar, which I'm not going to show you, but I've got the days here already. I have a trip to New Orleans on the calendar for the end of February. I have IT classes that I went ahead and decided to sign up for through a scholarship program in my city, and I should be done with my certification by March. So I'm going to be starting that in mid-January. I have a trip to Atlanta planned to go cat sit for my sister while they go on vacation for her birthday, and it will give me a chance to kind of get out of here and just see something new. But most importantly, there's been some new developments for me creatively, and I'm so happy. So you guys already know that I am in a writing club, and I think I talked about just how important it is for someone with ADHD to have a creative outlet. It has been great for me. But another thing that I've noticed is that I really need to move my body. I feel like last year when I started my business, at the beginning of the year, I was so locked into my computer. I actually created a reality for myself where I was so locked in and just like sitting down that for the second half of the year, I just couldn't focus or concentrate on anything for long. And I couldn't just do that anymore. I had to get out there, and I started performing. So in the summer is when I performed at Stormwater Studios, the local new art studio here in this city. And I performed there again in October. I started doing a lot more performing starting at the tail end of November, right before Thanksgiving. And then In December, I started performing a lot, so much so that I lost my voice a few times, and I even ended up with a sinus infection from singing in a cold, drafty bar. But I learned so much about performing, and I said, I'm not going to wait until 2020 to start treating my singing voice as an instrument. So, yes, I have decided that one way for me to remain balanced as a creative person and as someone who um, experiences intense feelings and all of the things that come with having ADHD is that I've decided that I can no longer neglect that my body is necessary in my work, and that as an artist, I need to be physically active as well. So I think I really started putting that in place towards the second half of the year, especially towards the end. And now I'm going full steam ahead. I recently formed a group with a couple of other beautiful people, and they are musicians. They are the team that I was looking for. They are the creative team that I was looking for. And every other time I thought that, hey, I need a band, I need to like really form this, it all seemed like a very daunting thing. This happened so naturally. This happened so organically. It could only literally be God. And we've already done a few performances. The name of the band is called PMS, and it stands for Page, Mia, and Star. So we are a very eclectic group, and I will say that our style is multi-genre, but it's really so early to tell what the possibilities could be for this musical trio. When I tell you that when I rehearse with my bandmates, it is like I have found myself again. Um, I don't know if I ever told you the story of when I was in high school and performing is what kept me in school. It's just what I should have always been doing. I mean, if there is any should in life, that would be one of them. Um, so I think moving forward in 2020, I have committed to staying in Columbia too. So all of the directionless I was feeling, all of the scatterbrainness I was feeling was all a part of the process, because right now I can tell you, even the shame and guilt, that I felt for being here and living in my parents' house and my old room that I grew up in. It's just literally been so transformative to just be here and accept it. And once I started accepting it, and once I started, meeting people who started giving me opportunities to perform, and I started taking them, and I started going to more open mics and trying out some original sounds and trying covers of songs that I always wanted to cover, but just felt like I needed to stay in the box. I started taking chances, and I started saying yes to what I felt here. Got my hand on my heart, got my hand on my gut, what I felt here. And life started saying yes to me as I began to say yes to life. I think that's an important lesson for anybody, not just someone with ADHD, but I think when it comes to finding a career, it is especially important for people like us to say yes to life in a way that feels good and not think that it has to look a certain way. I thought the band that I was going to be in had men in it, and it doesn't. Do you know how thrilled I am to be with an all female trio? And one of our members is gender non binary. So I have to make that distinction. But to be in a band with no males, like I never envisioned that. Now, it doesn't mean that we won't add people. I don't know what will happen in the future, but right now it is what it is, and it feels great. Um, I don't know what else to say. This video is less than 10 minutes, but it's like what's understood doesn't need to be talked about. I mean, I wanted the relationship piece to kind of be a separate thing, but maybe I should go into that. All right, so this is the year that I've decided that I will meet my divine sacred partner. Now, I said that in 2019, and I was like, oh, I'll get married in 2020. Um, now, I could have already met him, or I could have just met him and not really met him in person. Oh, this thing is always going up. Listen. Hmm. This is weird to me. Sorry. I'm going to turn you off right now. Yes, I am. Okay. Sorry about that. So, this circuit breaker has been acting really weird lately, and I need this light to stay on. So, I'll be cold in order for this light to stay on so that this video can be what it needs to be. And I'm not re-recording it. Like, why can't we have a little bit of imperfections and things? Why can't that also be beautiful? This is what I've been having to accept about life, that it's not always going to look, good. And I forgot my vest. I was supposed to be wearing my vest. I had like such an interesting, cool outfit on today and like whatever. But um I really wanted to do this video at the beginning of the year to kind of set the tone so that I can go back. Like, these videos have been so helpful for me to go back and look at, and for me to understand like just how I've been processing things, because I haven't been to therapy in months. And in fact, I told my new therapist, well, okay, maybe that's a Freudian slip. I don't have a new therapist yet, but I told my therapist that in the new year, I wanted things to be a little bit different. I don't want our sessions to go like how they've been. I really want someone who's going to ask me questions. And the only thing she asked me is more like chronological questions, like what happened with this and what happened with that. When did this happen? And trying to understand the sequence of things, or just the what of things. But I really want someone to dig in with me about the how and the why of things. I'm already doing that with myself, but I kind of really want a soundboard to go there with me. Yes, I'm very aware of what I need. And when I ask for it, I just kind of would prefer it be done. So it's not because I'm a control freak. I'm not a control freak at all. It's just that, like, when you know what you need, you just know what you need. So you just need to go find it. Back to the conversation of relationships, because I think that that's a perfect segue. I've talked about in one of my other videos, I did talk about relationships and how ADHD can affect that. When you have ADHD, you really need a patient and understanding partner. And above all that, I think, not above all that, but in relation to that, and in addition to that, I think it's just important to understand who you are and what you need, period. And don't think that just because you have ADHD that you have to settle, or think that because you're not offering those things that you can't want that in someone else, because I feel that someone is going to want to be complimentary to you. So one of the commitments I made to myself is that I want to start being early, more reliable, and even ever more clear about what is to be expected of me. I feel like I've had a few misunderstandings the past year about um, where I said I would be in terms of committing to something, or what the expectations can be in terms of my boundaries and how much I'm willing to show up for something. I try to be exceedingly clear about that, but apparently that wasn't enough. So I'm going to be even more clear in the future about, well, in the right now, about, like, if, like, I'm fully committed to my group, they can understand that, like, I want to be a part of all decisions. I want to be a part of, like, I want to be present. I don't want to just drop in and out. But there are other ventures or other organizations. For instance, I was volunteering with an organization, and I felt there was a little hostility towards me because I wasn't there, but I never said I would. I never claimed that I would be there on a regular basis. I never agreed or promised to. There was no contract, there was no schedule. I always resolved to go when I felt like it. And there's other things that I will only do when I feel like it. In order to avoid any of that type of tension or friction, especially in my personal relationships, I'm like, look, I want to be exceedingly abundantly clear. So I want to make that theme of clarity that I set the intention for in 2019 to carry over into 2020. And in addition to that, I want to call in my divine life partner. Like, so the relationships that I was in before, I had to be clear with him and say, even though we've grown so much and we're great friends, and we've been even more than that, I still feel like there's things that he can't do because he just doesn't want to and he's just not in that place in his life. And I'm not the kind of person to wait on someone ever at all. Like, I never want anyone to wait on me. So I'm not going to wait on you. But what I will do is keep you in my life as a friend. And I'm not going to be with a new partner who's going to say, oh, you can't be friends with that person. Obviously, there can be new boundaries created, but I'm never going to take away the love that I have for somebody if they're actually a good person for me in my life. I've seen through being friends with this person just how I've grown so much as a human being and artistically, as a creative, as an artist, and all of that stuff. So it's like, I'm not going to discard them. And I would never acquiesce to the request of someone who asked me to do that. um, I could cool off my contact with that person temporarily, but if someone is committed to harboring an insecurity about other people in my life when I've made it clear that there's nothing to worry about, then that person is probably not for me. That new person is probably not for me. Then I have someone who was out of the country for a long time, over a year, and has recently returned to the States. And I feel like there is a spiritual connection. Like, no matter how many times this person upsets me by literally just, I don't know, maybe they break a promise, like, oh, I'll call you, and then they don't. Like, I'm normally done with people like that. I'm not able to do that with this person. So always leave room for a little bit of mystery. I always leave room for a little bit of like, hey, I don't know why I feel this way, but I'm just going to continue feeling this way because it's too much energy to fight this feeling. And then also, like, I acknowledge the good things that this person has in my life. But I think we're both at a point where we're so eager to see each other, but we understand that until the timing is right, if we rush it, it will not be good. So I even spent New Year's alone. I could have been at my friend's party that she was throwing at a coworker's house. I could have been with my former lover, but my friend, and his people's house. I could have created other situations too, and I just didn't want to. Like, I wanted to spend that time alone. And I did. I was here with the dog and my red wine and my dark chocolate and my show called Call My Agent on Netflix. And I had a great time. Um, I was able to just sit, and I call it steeping in my own energy like a tea bag. Like, I just was I was where I wanted to be. And I'm so glad that I honored my commitment to myself to do what I had envisioned for myself, even if it wasn't what other people had in mind for me, or even if it wasn't the traditional thing to do. For I don't know how many years past, I had actually spent New Year's with my friend, and it was like a need. Like, I needed to spend New Year's with somebody. I needed to spend it with him, and it was just like such an urgent thing. And I'm like, I feel like I'm losing that fierce need, and I feel secure where it's like, it doesn't matter even if I move, like, we're still cool. We're still supportive of each other's journey, artistic journey, human journey. And we don't need to have a vice grip on each other like this. Um, that being said, I do want to be embraced. I do, embrassez-moi. Like, I do want to be loved and cocooned in a loving relationship where we're making decisions together about life. We're creating things. We're creating life. And I just feel like I'm ready to have and begin and cultivate that relationship in the flesh. Like, I've already been doing that with the friend the relationship that I said was out of the country, but I'm I'm looking for something that is, I'm going to say, real on all levels, not just on a virtual level, but like on a physical level. It's very real on a spiritual level. We have a connection spiritually that is very much in the ethers, but I want to bring it down to earth. I want to make it practical and I want to make it real. And I wanted to have some of those things that, you just kind of expect in a relationship that I thought that I didn't need because I was exploring different things for a long time. I was like, let me see if I can be cool with this. Let me see if I can be cool with that. And I think that has to do with ADHD. Just, you're interested in many things. And it's like, just like in my career, like I just had to see if it could work for me. I had to see if this could work for me. I had to see if that style could work for me. I had to see if I can deal with this. And it's like, well, some things, call it preference, call it insecurity, but it's like some things I'm just very clear right now with myself about. Like, I don't like that. Like, I don't like that. I'm never going to like it. I don't think I should have to deal with it. I can find what I deserve and what I like and what I want. Fully aware of that now. So yeah, I'm happy. Um and I have to say music is the medicine. Um Once I started performing, um I started taking notice of how I felt after I performed. And I remember this because I would put it on my Facebook stories and I would just type out a little message and say, I feel really light after I perform. The next day after I perform, I feel free. The next day after I perform, I feel confident. The next day after I perform, I feel purposeful. This is a decade of purpose, of living that out. And I feel like performing and singing is definitely one of those things. If you have gifts, show them, you know, um, just start sharing them. And that is what performing music has done for me. And I think it's just opened me up in many ways. And all these love affairs, which I'm narrowing down, like I'm winding down because even though it's hard for me to not meet new people. Like I'm always going to meet new people. It's hard for me to not entertain in my head, like, oh, could this person be the one? Could that person be the one? I'm really hoping that I'm not going to say I'm hoping that I've met the person already, but I'm hoping that I am. See, why can't I be honest about that? Like I'm hoping that I've met the person. I'm hoping that the person that I thought was the one at one point really is because it feels really good. Like it feels really good. But if it's not, then I know I still met them for a reason. They're a beautiful soul. And that is something, it's a relationship that I will still bless. But I'm I know that God has the right thing in store for me. And so it's all about keeping that relationship with God above all. Um, that's a good place to end. I don't like these videos to go too long. I want them to be bearable. I hope you learned something from just having me share my experience. It really does help me as well. Click the like button, subscribe. Subscribing would probably be the best thing that you can do to just stay abreast of everything that I'm sharing about this journey with ADHD. And in 2020, the year of mastery and the decade of mastery, we are stepping in and out into our gifts. Okay, I probably didn't word that correctly. We're stepping out into our gifts. We're sharing them with the world. We're cultivating an even deeper relationship with ourselves and the loved ones around us. We've already done the work of letting go of old stuff and relationships and preconditioned beliefs that limit us and don't allow us to be who we fully are. We're writing business plans. We're writing intentions and goals down, and we're getting health insurance. We're getting certifications. I decided to do the IT certification because it was short, because it was hands on, because it was free, as many of the other programs were. But this, I felt that it was the right thing to do. So we're feeling into our decisions for those of us who make decisions that way. I'm not saying everybody makes their decisions that way. Like after all the research, after all the talking to people, I caused a lot of confusion at the school because I was interested in so many things. I wanted to talk to every single program director and I needed answers. And they didn't like that. But it ended up being good in the end because I decided on the thing that I originally decided on and I'm moving forward with it. I'm really excited. So I plan to be certified by March, and I plan to be doing. I really see classes for the elderly, like around either phones or cybersecurity or just computers in general. So that's something that I may be able to set up through my company, Lemon Seed, which is just you know kind of doing some pivoting on that. We can have a whole another video about that. But yeah, 2020 is already my year. I'm already proclaiming myself to be Woman of the Year, like I told my dad earlier. So